The Africa is Now exhibition at Design Indaba Expo this year was really a kind of snapshot of the creative work that is being produced across the continent at the moment. It was an up-to-the-minute survey of established as well as emerging creative talent from across Africa.
African creativity can definitely change the way we see things and reinterpret our purpose as designers. What is most important for us is to show that with what we have in our hands, we can actually do things that can apply not only to Africa, but to the rest of the world. So to me, African creativity is the creativity of the next century.
The Centerpiece exhibition was made up of 66 designers from 25 African countries, and it was very much structured around 5 different themes, including Africa is sharp, Africa is urban, Africa is tradition reinvented, Africa is resourceful, and Africa is transformed.
This piece is called the Okamba lamp. The basic kind of just form of it is taken from a burnished clay Zulu pot, which is a traditional kind of time-old piece. And we referred to that because we find that that form has been produced many, many times over centuries, and it's just beautiful. And they also use geometry in the detailing on the surface of the form, so that's what informed our piece, and it comes directly from an African reference.
The piece that we've got, it's a serving table, which is just a functional piece of furniture. It's made of panga, which is Militia Stulmani. It takes about between 200 and 300 years to grow. So when you design something that's made out of a piece of wood, which is that old, you owe it the respect, if it's going to be sustainable, to be something that is going to last for at least that amount of time. Now, part of that is you then don't want to design something that is so outrageous that it will be a fashion item. It must be something that's reasonably classical.
African creativity can create serious change, serious social change. When I think about African creativity in the fashion industry, because that's the industry that I come from, in the media industry, we look at economies. For example, the fashion industry in the UK is a $37.2 billion industry. Imagine if you just took a little piece of that. It contributes 3% to GDP in Africa, to a country like Ghana, what that could do in terms of social achievements and social change. And that starts with harnessing the power of creativity. Studio 189 is a creative collective platform that I started a year ago with Rosario Dawson, and the mission behind it is basically to use fashion to create social change, and Fashion Rising Collection is basically the home for that. So we make a collection, everything is produced from creative concepting to pattern making to development to production to textiles to hand painting. Everything is 100% done locally, and it's really a fun project.
From my side, the passion of motorsport has always remained. I love fast cars, I love Formula One racing, and hence why I designed this product called the Espresso Veloce, which is probably one of the most revolutionary coffee makers on the planet today, because it's the only machine which will give you a true Italian espresso corretto, which means you can dose grappa into your mixture of coffee.
I've submitted street sleeper bags, and what these are urban survival sleeping bags for homeless people around the city. And they are made from advertising billboards that you'd see around any normal city. And we work with homeless people to cut them up and sew them, and they become survival sleeping bags that they can sleep in during the night, providing like immediate relief from the wind and the wet. And then during the day they can fold them up into backpack mode. And you can walk around with them and wear them, and you can store your valuables in the bag so that they don't get stolen and they don't get wet, which is a massive problem facing homeless and impoverished people in the city. I think what makes it a uniquely African design is that it's completely founded in innovation. You know, Africans are problem solvers at heart. We look at a problem and we see what's lying around, and that's how we solve it. You know, people sometimes, maybe from other parts of the world, think we're just slapping things together and it's a haphazard solution, but I think Africans like to solve problems locally, and they use what they have and they use the resources that they need, and Street Sleeper does exactly that. So, proudly African.
The Africa's Now exhibit is more than a once-off focus for this year's expo, but it's part of a much larger strategy that Design Indaba has to celebrate the creativity and innovation that is coming from across the continent.